Hello, everybody. My name is Jessica Ellen. If you are here live, please comment live. If you're watching the replay, please comment replay. I am a self mastery coach, speaker, author, and the founder of the Raw Integration Method. My work blends mindset coaching, hypnotherapy, NLP, and energetics to create deep, lasting change from the inside out. Look, I know what it's like to feel overwhelmed, disconnected from yourself, stuck in patterns that you just can't seem to break. I've spent years understanding how real transformation happens through my own healing and also through supporting other women. There was a period in my life where I felt like I had completely lost myself. I had gone from feeling happy, energetic, and full of life to feeling empty, exhausted, and disconnected from who I used to be. Anxiety, chronic illness, pain, financial pressure, relationship strain, it all piled up until I felt like I was drowning underneath the weight of it all. From the outside, I looked like I was coping. I was really good at masking how I was feeling. I was still showing up as a mum, as a partner, as a business owner. I was still trying desperately to hold everything together. But behind closed doors, I was just falling apart. My mind never seemed to slow down. I had a constant, heavy sense of dread sitting in my chest all the time. I felt trapped in a life I didn't recognize anymore. There were moments when I genuinely just could not see a way out, and I knew something had to change. I did what most people do. I went to doctors, I tried medication after medication, I did talk therapy, but instead of getting better, over the months and then years, I was actually getting worse. And that's when I started to realize something. Everything I had tried was focused on managing the symptoms, but no one was telling me and helping me to understand what was actually happening beneath it all, why I was actually feeling this way in the first place. And that realization changed everything for me. The moment I finally admitted to myself I can't keep living like this was the moment everything started to shift. For a long time, I thought that hitting that point meant that I'd failed somehow. But it turns out it just meant that I'd been living in that discomfort for way too long and I was ready finally to change. Growing up, many of us are never taught how to pause, feel, or process what we're going through. We learn to push through the pain, suppress our emotions, and pretend that everything is fine so we can just keep functioning. Like, hands up if you felt like that before as a woman, especially being a mom running a business, or just in general, you feel like you have to please everybody, right? But ignoring these pains, these symptoms, it doesn't make it disappear. It just keeps building underneath the surface until eventually your body, your mind, or your life forces you to pay attention. What I realized was that the pain I was experiencing wasn't actually my enemy, no matter how much it felt like it. It was a signal. It was my body and my emotions trying desperately to communicate with me that something needed to change. And that's when things started to really shift for me. For a long time, I felt like if I just tried harder to think differently, to stay positive, or to manage my thoughts better, things would just automatically improve. But when your body has been stuck in survival mode for such a long time, it becomes incredibly differently to think clearly or feel calm. You even sometimes feel like you are calm, but that's just your normal. You are actually still stressed underneath the surface. And it's not until you start learning how to actually feel calm that you realize this. Being stuck in survival mode means your body has been living in a prolonged state of stress. When it happens, it becomes harder to rest properly, to think clearly, or to truly feel safe, even in your own home, your own body, your own mind. Your system is still operating from a place of protection. So it doesn't matter how much mindset work you try to do consciously. Your unconscious mind and body are still responding as if they're still on guard, looking for threats. That's why so many women feel constantly on edge, emotionally reactive, or at times completely shut down and disconnected. That's why learning how to bring your body back into a sense of safety and balance is not optional, it's foundational. A well-regulated system doesn't mean you never experience stress. It means your body knows how to return to calm, connection, and stability, even after the stressful moment has passed. When your body begins to trust that it's safe to relax, safe to feel, and safe to receive support, that's when real transformation becomes possible. That's why simply trying to think differently doesn't create lasting change. Real change begins when you start working with your body and your unconscious mind, or some of you would know it as your subconscious mind, instead of constantly trying to push past what you're feeling. As I started understanding how survival mode worked and why it kept me and so many other people stuck, I began noticing something else. Real transformation seems to follow a process. And over time, through my own healing journey and also through the work and study of years and years doing it with other women, that process became what I now call the Raw Integration Method. Raw is a guided process that helps someone move from survival mode into calmer, more grounded, aligned way of being. The first stage is release. Here is when we begin to let go of the old identities and the emotional weight that your body and mind have been carrying for far too long. The second stage is overcome. During this phase, we start rewiring limiting beliefs and interrupting the patterns of self-sabotage that keep pulling you back into survival mode. The third stage is awaken. At this point, you reconnect with yourself again. You begin aligning with your values and rebuilding trust in your intuition and inner guidance. And the final stage is rise. This stage is where you step into a new identity and begin living with greater clarity, confidence, and alignment. Now, awareness is the very first step towards healing, no matter what method you try. And I would love to give you a couple of tools today to help you start to gain that awareness that you need to move forward. So the first thing I would love for you to do is to write down your answer to this question. And if you haven't got a pen and paper, just come back and rewatch this, or if you're able to pause. But I want you to ask yourself, what am I still holding on to that may be holding me back? What am I still holding on to that may be holding me back? And when you write, try not to filter or judge what comes up. It could be a belief about yourself. Maybe it's an emotion you've been pushing down. Maybe it's the pressure of feeling like you have to hold everything together. Maybe it's just something from your past that feels heavy. I'm not asking you to solve this problem today, but just notice it. Just allow yourself to be present with that. And if more things come to mind later, you can simply add them to the list. But just take a moment now and write the first thing that comes into your mind. Now, another question I would love to ask you today is, where do I notice myself getting in my own way? It might show up as procrastination, self-doubt, overcommitting and then feeling overwhelmed, or self-sabotaging just when things start moving in the right direction. When you start noticing these patterns, you often realize they've been running quietly in the background for years. And that's not because something's wrong with you, but because at some point those behaviors helped you to feel safe in some way. You started doing them for a reason, and that reason would have been valid many years ago, or maybe even just a few months ago. And once you can start seeing that pattern, you're in the position to change it. So again, those two questions to ask yourself are, because you can just do this in your own time when you've got time and space to just sit and reflect. One is, what am I still holding on to that may be holding me back? And the second is, where do I notice myself getting in my own way? Now, another tool that can really help you during a difficult moment is called SNAP. Now, SNAP is a simple way to create space between a trigger and your reaction. Because when we're in survival mode, or even sometimes when we're not in survival mode, when we're just operating unconsciously, our reactions tend to happen automatically, like 95% of the time. Something happens, and then before we realize it, we're responding from an old pattern. Snap helps us to interrupt that pattern. It could be simply snapping at the kids and they ask you a question and interrupt you. It could be getting cut off in traffic. It could be getting a text message from someone that causes you to feel some anxiety. It could be an email that pops up or something to do with work. Whatever it is, Snap helps to interrupt that pattern. Now, the first step is to stop. Pause for a moment when you notice yourself becoming triggered. Just pause. Be aware. The second step is to notice. Pay attention to what's happening in your body, your thoughts, your emotions. What happened right before you started feeling triggered? What was that feeling? What thought came before the feeling? And then, if you really want to push it, what thought came after the feeling that may have increased that feeling of being triggered? The third step is allow. Instead of immediately fighting the feeling or trying to push it away, allow it just to be there without judging it. Be completely present in that moment. Emotions are energy in motion. We are meant to feel them, experience them, gain some awareness from them, learn from them, and let them go. They're meant to flow through us, not stay with us. Just be completely present with that feeling, because the more you can do that, the easier it becomes. The more control you have over your reactions, the more conscious you are about your reactions. Then the next step is to penetrate your body with deep breaths. Take a few slow, deep breaths and bring attention back into your body. Now, if you're in the middle of a panic attack and your breathing is really fast, just each breath aim to make it slower and slower and slower until you're doing slow, deep breaths. Now, the final step is prompt, compassionate action. Ask yourself what the most compassionate response would be in this moment. Compassion towards yourself and toward the situation. Now, compassion towards yourself could just literally be giving your time and space in that moment to feel what's going on. It could be getting a drink of water and walking out the room. It could be going for a walk. It could be listening to something that makes you feel good. Whatever it is, just choose something that helps to reset, helps to stop and interrupt this pattern, this feeling, but in a compassionate way. Even just taking a few seconds of pause can completely change how a moment unfolds. Now, there's one more thing I want you to go through with me now. So if you feel comfortable, I would love for you to close your eyes or just soften your focus. I want you to imagine for me, it's a few years from now and nothing's really changed. You're still carrying the same patterns, you're still overthinking, you're still stretched, overwhelmed, and disconnected from yourself. From the outside, your life might look fine. You're still showing up, still doing what needs to be done. But internally, it feels the same. Maybe it feels heavier, harder. You're older now. It's even more difficult. You're tired of your own thoughts. You're tired of feeling like you're desperately holding everything together. And there's a part of you that knows that this isn't how your life is meant to feel. You're still stuck. You're still trying to outthink your problems. You're falling back into patterns of self-sabotage, inner conflict and guilt. You're still overthinking, finding yourself overwhelmed. Now imagine in the future you come across a photo of yourself from today. And you realize that this is the moment things could have changed. You gained some awareness today. You knew something needed to shift and you could feel it. But in this case, you didn't act on it. Just sit with that for a moment and see how that feels, knowing that even though you had a chance to change, you didn't take it. You just kept repeating the same uncomfortable patterns. Now let's shift that. I want you to step out of that version of you and imagine instead a few years from now, things are different in the best way. You feel calmer, clearer, more grounded in yourself. You trust your decisions. You don't spiral over everything. Life might not be perfect, but it's better because you're different within it. Imagine looking at this future self in the mirror. See and feel how confident and happy she is. Feel how good it feels to be in this body. Feel how healthy you are, how calm you are, how energized you are, how motivated you are. Amplify those feelings and see all that you've accomplished. See how you've reached your goals with ease because you've chosen to take action and move forward, one step at a time. You put the trust in yourself that you needed, that you could achieve it, and you did. You made it happen. Feel how good that feels to know that you have complete control over this. You have complete control over the outcome. What matters is the choices you make between then and now. Now I want you to open your eyes and just come back to now, but I want you to recognize that this moment now is the moment you choose to change something. It all starts now, in this moment where you can make the decision to move forward and do the deeper work. You don't have to fix everything at once, but something, just one thing. That one thing can change everything. It can be the difference between those futures. The difference between those two futures is not time. It's the decision you make after moments like this. That shift doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you're doing the unconscious, deeper work to shift the unhelpful patterns that you created at some point, instead of just managing them at the surface and just trying to outthink them. This is exactly the work I do with my raw integration method. We move through the 4 stages. We release, where we clear everything that's been weighing you down. We overcome and shift the patterns and reactions that have been keeping you stuck. You awaken, you reconnect with who you are underneath it all, and you rise, where you step into a completely different way of showing up in your life. What I do is identity level work, and this is how real change happens. Now, if something here has resonated with you today, I know we've only just scratched the surface because we do have a very limited time, but I want you to do something with it, because this is the moment where most women stay stuck. They have the awareness, they see the patterns, they know something needs to change, but they don't take the next step. Then nothing shifts. If this resonates and you're ready to take your life by the hands and just move forward, start moving forward to that better version of you, just drop a yes in the comments. Say yes. Yes, I am ready to change. Yes, I'm going to commit to making this happen for myself, even if it is just one small step at a time. As a thank you for being here today, I want to give you something that can help you start changing now. Just for this group, I would love to give you free access to my latest masterclass called 4 Steps from Survival Mode to Self-Mastery, where I walk you through how to start shifting these patterns in a practical, grounded way. I'm also offering you all a limited number of complimentary one-on-one strategy sessions. It's half an hour on the phone with me, but we can look at exactly what's been keeping you stuck and map out what needs to shift for you specifically, so you can walk away with a blueprint of how you can move forward. If you're someone who is ready to do deeper work and you know you're done trying to outthink your way of this problem and you want to actually make this change and do it now, my new program Raw Awakening is starting soon. You're welcome to reach out on more details of that if you wish. So if this resonated with you, comment raw below or send me a message and I'll send you the link so you can register for your free strategy session, and you can get access to the masterclass for free as well. If you are unable to comment on this for some reason, whatever it might be, just head to my website, jessicaellen.coach, and you can find the link to register for the free strategy session and also for the masterclass. Thank you so much for your time. You have been amazing, and I hope that something here has resonated with you. If it has, also please reach out. I'd love to chat and get to know each and every one of you. It's so weird talking to you guys and not seeing your beautiful faces. So if you have any questions, reach out. Enjoy the rest of the summit. I can't wait to see what the rest of the speakers have in store. And hopefully I'll be talking with you soon.